All right, so last time we made a React app that can get a list of wines or individual wines from Tom's API. Hopefully it still does that. All right, not /wines, it's just the home page. So next we're going to make a form so that we can post to this API and make new wines. So to start with, I'm going to go to my app and I'm going to add a new route. Let's call this route exact path equals, call it add wine. And we'll make a component that we'll call the add wine page, which means we need to make an add wine page. Add wine page.js in pages. I'm going to import it. And let's just set up the basic structure before we do just so that it isn't broken anymore. Or, no, it looks like we're getting an error, but okay, we'll just leave that alone for now. Because now I want to make a function that'll actually post to the API. So to do that, I'm going to make a function, call it add wine. And we're going to assume it's going to be getting a wine object. And then we're going to return fetch. And for this one, it looks like the endpoint is the same as the get, as long as you're posting to it. And then we need to add all of our posting information, right? So first I'm going to add headers. We're going to have content type. It's going to be application JSON. Our method is going to be post. And the body is going to be json.stringify on our wine object. I'm going to add that function to our export. All right. Does this look familiar to anybody? Does the post request, everyone feel confident about this? All right. Back to add wine page. I'm going to make this a class-based component. I'm going to give React Bootstrap one more try because I do like how they do their forms. So I'm going to import form and button from React Bootstrap. I'm going to import the wine API. I'm also going to import redirect from the React router. Class add wine page, extends component. Make sure we have our render function. All right, so we should be able to go to our add wine page. Not sure why the terminal decided to close itself. Okay, something weird's going on. All right, it's not giving me an error. That's a good sign. Add wine page, there we are. All right, So the idea with so let's start with this redirect here that I imported. So I want to be able to post something when the form posts. I want to be able to to redirect the user to the home page after it's done. So to do that, I'm going to set state, and I'm going to set something called redirect. I'm going to set it to false for now. So state's going to hold on to whether or not it is time to redirect to another page. And now I'm going to make my form. And first I'm going to say, all right, if this.state.redirect, I'm going to return, oh, I already did this wrong. Oh, did that wrong too. There we go. If this.state.redirect, I'm going to return a redirect component, and the 2 is going to equal the home page. Else, I'm going to delete this for now. Else, I'm going to return the form. Div, there we go. So I'm going to use the form with a capital F here from the React Bootstrap. And I'm going to give this something called a form.group. And form.group takes something called a control ID. And we'll set that equal to name. And inside that, we'll give it a form.label, which is going to be wine name, and a form.control. So that'll set up our first field. Unless it decides to break again. Yep, there it is. Little space there for styling. There we go. So now with all of these, I can copy and paste and get the rest of them. So here we'll have the varietal. Here we'll have the description. And what was the other thing it had? And a price. There we go. Now if we look at the elements, we can kind of see how it renders this stuff. So I have to go down the DOM tree a bit. Here's my form. This div, it already gives these dims. It gives you these classes. My name, input, ID equals name, class equals form control. And again, I'm not getting the Bootstrap styling because I think I forgot to add that to my index.js. But this already sets up all this input stuff pretty nicely. Last thing I need to do is I need to give it a submit button. So button. We can give it a variant. Primary, the type is going to be submit. We'll say submit wine. So I could be able to say something like Noah's Special Merlot, which is actually a Malbec. We hit submit wine. All right, what happened there? What happened when I hit submit?
Reloaded? Reloaded?
Yeah, it reloaded because
Prevent default is not there.
Yeah, I didn't prevent default, and I don't have a function to actually do anything with this form once it gets submitted. So to do that, I'm going to make a function. Let's call it, handle submit. It takes event as an argument. First, we're going to event.prevent default. And for now, it's this console.log event, making sure this is all working the way it should. And then in form, I'm going to say on submit, going to equal anonymous function that takes event as an argument and calls this.handle submit, like so. So now if I just type in some stuff here, hit submit, so we get a synthetic event object, which gives us a lot of information. But the things we need are the target, which at the moment is null, is reused for performance reasons. If you're seeing this, you're accessing the property target on a release nullified synthetic event. This is set to null. Interesting. I'm going to try something else real quick. I'm going to console.log event.target.
I think you spelled target wrong.
You're right, I did. Target. All right, one more time. Did it not work? Oh, that's okay, it reloaded. That's not what it's supposed to do. Oh, there we go. Ah, here we are. So it gives us our form with everything in it. And from this, we're actually we should be able to get to all of the inputs using event.target.elements. And I can even change this up here. So we have a list with our input and the button, which we can safely ignore. So now that we have our form captured as event.target.elements, I could do something like const wine object. Is that? Name is going to be event.target.elements 0.value. Varietal event.target.elements 1.value. Where's price next? Description. Event.target.elements 2.value. And price event.target.elements 3.value. So now I should be able to console.log my wine object if this worked. Noah's special Merlot. Let's make it an actual Merlot this time. Tasty, tasty wine. Sells for $299. There it is. This is everything we need in order to make our post request. We've got all of the keys. We just need to send it on up. So now I should be able to say wine API dot add wine. with our wine object. Then we're going to take the response. And in this case, I don't really care what the response is. I'm just going to use that. Actually, wait, nope. We don't need to do those yet. We need to do this dot set state. And we're going to set redirect to true. And that should trigger this redirect right here. So now I should be able to actually add my special Merlot. All right, so we had an error 500 from the server, which means that on our end, we did well. Whenever I see a 5, it means something's wrong with the server that we tried to access. So taking a look at what John sent me, I do have the right URL, I think. So not entirely sure why I got a 500 error there. I'm going to try it one more time, see if we get the same error. Yep, so we are getting from there at line 12 and wine API. That says, so we can add wine and wine API.js. So we try to fetch to this endpoint and something went wrong. Let's see, if I try to do that from here. Okay, so that worked in this for this one. Yeah, so I'm not sure if this is cores anywhere or the URL itself. Tom, any ideas?
Let me look at that again.
And we do have this thing here, error incomplete chunked encoding. I'm gonna Google this.
API.
This is about an Angular package. Well, that's not very helpful.
Can I look at your object that you're passing in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's say I've got the same.
Are timestamps added automatically, or do I need to add this created at by right now?
No, they should be added automatically. Yeah.
Well,
See if the live app is actually working or not.
yeah, and I was able to add it from this REST framework page here.
Huh. Oh. Yeah, there's something going on with that API because because I'm on my front end app that I have deployed to Heroku right now, and when I try to add a line, it's not working.
Well,
And it was working yesterday, so there's something wrong with. Yeah, there's something wrong with.
okay, cool. So this should work. So we have our post request. We have our form that gets all the information from our form. We call on our post request. Once we get a response, we set redirect to true. So we redirect to our home page, whatever happens. Beside,
Sorry. What's the error? Okay, now it's working. Something's going on. So I think something in the API request is switching the that should work. Does that not work?
I hit submit.
Oh, no.
Now I got that same 500 internal server error. Nope. No, that worked for yours.
That's weird. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's something going on.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, any questions about handling these forms and post requests? Okay. All right. So next thing I want to do is we have an app that more or less works. So what I want to do now is I want to actually deploy this to Heroku. So we have to figure out how to do that, right? So I go to Heroku.com. It should work very similarly to how I did it the first time. Got to log in, or it automatically logged me in. Great. So I want to make create new app. We can call this Noah front end wine. So I should just be able to do something like this. Get in it. It's already a get page because that's what React does that automatically. I can copy this line right here. That looks like it worked. Git add. It's a CR application. It's not a CRUD application yet. I should be able to git push Heroku master. And when it's done, we should be able to go to Noah frontendwine.herokuapp.com, and it should be there. Except it's doing this shit. Come on. Maybe I should have added some things to make it. Well, looks like all this stuff was already automatically added to the get ignore, so I don't have to worry about that, thank God. Build succeeded, I like that. All right, while that's going on, I am actually going to get out of this. I'm going to go back to my Django project. And I guess it won't work here because I'm not using my API anymore. Well, maybe it's working by now, who knows? But I'm still going to set it up this way. So I'm going to find my wine project. I'm going to source venv bin activate. Cool, that I'm in my venv now, and this is all done. So let's see if it worked. While that's going on, I'll continue with what I'm doing here. So the reason I'm coming back to my Python project is I want to make it so that my app, oh, there it is, I'm giving it specific CORS permission. So it's working here. So I'm going to, first off, just open everything. Did it not work? Here we are. There you go. Oh, didn't put me back into my venv. Let me get back into my venv. I'm going to pip install Django CORS headers. Then I'm going to pip freeze my requirements.txt. Right. Then I need to go to in my let's see here. I need to find my settings.py. I'm going to find my middleware. And in the middleware, I'm going to put two things. I'm going to put CORS headers dot middleware dot CORS middleware and Django dot middleware dot common middleware.
Is that something standard, or did you get that from somewhere to put in there?
So the Django middleware common middleware, that's included with Django. CORS headers I had to install. So I pip installed CORS headers earlier. Django CORS headers, that is. So this is the thing. This will allow us to change our CORS settings. So I don't think it exists yet. Yeah, so we need to make a directory or something called CORS origin whitelist. And in there, I'm going to put, in this case, it's going to be Noah frontend app.com. So this is me specifically adding my particular app to my whitelist to allow it to access it. So that way I won't, when I go back to that, go back to my React project, I won't have to use that CORS anywhere anymore because I've specifically opened the door to it. But again, I think this particular Django project has been shut down for making requests for now. So I'm just going to I'm going to trust that it works.
Have we tried to make a request to it yet to see it's back on? I tried to research yesterday how many requests are allowed.
Yeah, I'll make a request to it right now.
And it was only down, like mine was only down for like 10 minutes or something.
Okay, let's take a look. So, in theory, we got a promise pending.
Ooh.
Still pending. So it's going pretty slow, but it isn't broken. Uh-oh. Oh, dang it. Well, in this case, we got a... Yeah, so from... So it actually is interesting. So it doesn't look like it's working in this case. Oh, because I didn't actually add it and commit it. That was my problem. I'd actually have to git add updated cores policy. And then it was git push Heroku master. Is that right? I always forget which ones to do. Git push Heroku master. That's the right order. So when that's done, hopefully it'll work. All right, so this is deployed to Heroku. Okay. Refresh this, make sure it still works. I'm gonna repeat this fetch request. Dang it. Refresh the page. I don't know if that would change anything. I do have the right Noah frontend wine.herokuapp.com. I did add that correctly, I believe. I don't know if adding that comma would actually change anything. Added a comma.
And sometimes it takes a while for it to update.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I know this is the right way to do it, even if something's going wrong.
No, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you could deploy your React and Django on the same server, so that way you don't get the cores issue?
Good question.
Like, it also would probably reduce latency, I would expect, right? If they're running on the same server.
I don't know if you can make them part of the same Heroku app exactly, but it's possible. I think it might be possible. Let's look this up. How to deploy multiple Heroku apps from the same Git repository. This may be interesting. When a repo has more than one Heroku app. So you can change Heroku app names. I don't know if this is exactly what we're looking for. So that's all from one Git repository. That's not what you wanted. Let's try. It's like front end, back end, same Heroku app. And this looks a little more interesting. So you want Heroku to install both of them.
So yeah, you can deploy to like the same
Mm-hmm.
essentially like the same the same port. You just have to ensure that your API endpoints are separate than your front end endpoints. So like when I learned, I use Node and Express a lot. So I use a Node backend, and just like my API endpoints are separate, but it's all still on the same server.
Okay, cool.
All right, I'm trying this one more time, seeing if the Heroku app has updated. The promise is still going. It's resolved. So that should mean it worked. So I'm going to try it one more time. I'm going to add a .then to this. Saying, okay, this time it worked. All right. So I would have to go back so I can update my project to use this particular thing. So I can shut this down to go to my JavaScript, React, front end. Get out of the virtual environment. So I should be able to update my API, update my front end now to access my API directly. So I'm going to git add, git commit, update API endpoints. So once that's done, I should have my front end and back end connecting to one another the way they're supposed to. Hey, Tom, while that's going, is there a project specifically for today, or should they have another thing they should be working on today?
So today is just creating a front end React app and deploying that, and actually just kind of do what we just did. In addition to that, build out your school API or your school backend from yesterday if it's not done yet, and then also deploy that or create a front end React app for that as well, and deploy that if you can. But I would just try to like get them both connected. Just get used to that. Creating a backend first, creating all your routes or URL API, and then creating a front end, and just try to get some data from the backend. And if you want to deploy those, go ahead. But yeah, today specifically do the all lines front end React and deploy that and ensure that it's working.
Okay, so I think I broke mine.
Yeah, you probably
right,
got
because I now my data is formatted differently than Tom's was.
Yep.
So it would be working. I just need to change a few more things. I'm not going to get into that right now. I need to change this from change my front end to expect to receive an object rather than an array. All right. Any other questions before we break?
You guys now know how to deploy a back end and front end and do completely CRUD.
Okay. All right. In that case, let's take like a 16-minute break. Be back at 11, and that's when you'll go work through this particular tutorial on your own. Work on the school thing, the school API, and also message Tom and myself if you want to discuss your idea for your personal project with us. Sound good?
Cool. Thanks.
Hey, Noah or Tom, are there requirements for what our project needs to include?
Yes. So I think we went over this earlier today, but you need to include so it needs to have a React front end, you need to make a CRUD app, and that CRUD app needs to incorporate 2 third-party APIs at least. And I believe we are requiring a React front end and a Django backend. Any other questions? Okay, in that case, I'm going to leave the Zoom room so I can upload the videos to YouTube, and we'll talk to you all later.